Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. The baseball galaxy is loaded with shining stars. Starry night in the Astrodome, where a starry-eyed pitcher made the National League see stars in this year's version of the Major League Star System. Stars and Stripes turned out to honor a former teammate who was destined for stardom, and even in retirement, his starlight still lingers. The All-Star Game has always been a star-studded affair, and through the years, the star fields have been filled with star-spangled memories. The stargazing Mets continue to shoot for the stars with little chance of getting star-crossed. So stay in your star chambers as we kick up some stardust, y'all, right here on This Week in Baseball, celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Hey, This Week in Baseball. Happy birthday. You're doing a good job.
Major League midway point. In New York, the Mets reigned supreme. The Mets were mad after being swept for the first time all season. Cincinnati did it. But in the next series, New York made the Braves pay by outscoring them 28-2 and winning all 4 games. Lenny Dykstra went to the well time and again and came up full. 8 for 12 in the series with 4 RBIs and 4 runs scored. When it was over, the 23-year-old center fielder was leading the league in hitting. His average, near 350.
Last year I was a rookie, and I was just getting my feet wet and coming into a big place like New York to break in as a major leaguer with a team in the pennant was a little tough, but I feel real comfortable this year, and I'm going at it with a positive attitude and a confident attitude, and I think that's what's helped me play the way I'm playing.
When he gets on base, he makes things happen. He's a dynamic base runner. He's a dynamic player, and he's not afraid to dive, and he's not afraid to get his uniform dirty, and I kind of like that because that's the kind of style of play I like too. And he's going to go out there and he's going to try and win. He's going to try and beat the other team, and those kind of guys you like having on your ball club.
Another is Sid Fernandez. El Cid tossed a 2-hitter against Atlanta for his first career shutout, and he lowered his ERA to 2.67. At age 23, he earned his first All-Star appearance after raising his record to 12-2, first 12-game winner in the league. Also shooting for the Stars, All-Star catcher Gary Carter, who blasted 2 homers in 1 game, accounting for 7 RBIs, 65 overall to rank second in the league at the midway point. As for the Mets, they rank second to none. 13 games atop the East with the best record in baseball. Now, let's open the notebook for This Week in Baseball's Twib Notes from around the majors. First place in the National League West is where the upstart San Francisco Giants found themselves at the All-Star break after taking 3 out of 4 from Pittsburgh. Man, what a difference a year makes. At the 85 break, the Giants were in last place, and they ended the season in the cellar after losing 100 games for the first time in franchise history. But under new skipper Roger Craig, they've really turned it around. 8 games above 500, third best winning percentage in the league. How about that? Against Houston, Kent Tekulve of Philadelphia set a National League record for pitching appearances, working his 820th game. 39-year-old Tekulve played for 12 seasons with Pittsburgh, was traded last year, and broke the mark of former Pirate Elroy Face, who spent 15 seasons as bullpen boss with Pittsburgh and Montreal. In the same game, Mike Schmidt blasted a pair of homers and drove in 4 runs to take over the league RBI lead with 66 at the All-Star break. The 2 homers gave Schmidt a career total of 477, moving him ahead of Stan the Man Musial of St. Louis and Pittsburgh's Willie Stargell into 15th place all-time. John Candelaria might make the difference for California in the second half of the season. Candyman came back after 3 months on the disabled list, won his first 2 games, the second against Boston. In the same series, Tom Seaver got roughed up by Reggie Jackson. When these 2 future Hall of Famers squared off, Reggie came out on top by cracking 2 homers. the Angels and Red Sox split the 4-game series, and the teams reached the All-Star break in first place in their respective American League divisions. The Yankees' Rickey Henderson, with 51 stolen bases at the All-Star break, extended his American League record streak of at least 50 steals a season to 7 straight. The Major League mark of 12 was set by Hall of Famer Lou Brock, the all-time stolen base leader with 938. Now, time for this week's quiz, brought to you by Nissan. Test drive the all-new Nissan truck hardbodies at your Nissan Datsun dealer now. Outfielder Mike Kingery was called up by Kansas City 7 games before the break and immediately made his presence felt, hitting safely in all 7 games and going 12 for 27 for a .444 average. But for this week's quiz, name the player who holds the rookie record for most hits in a season. Stay tuned. All-Star Celebration. One of this year's honorary captains always played with honor. Rusty Staub Day at Shea Stadium. A colorful affair thanks in part to his former teammates who added some orange to juice up the fun. For 23 seasons, Rusty displayed class, character, and a tough competitive spirit, endearing himself to all of New York in his 9 seasons with the Mets. Back in 1963, the Houston franchise was just 1 year old, and Rusty was a mere 19 when he joined the team, then called the Colt 45s. He made the All-Star squad for the first time in 1967, having established himself as one of the game's hot young stars, and I do mean hot.
The old Colt 45 Stadium, the hottest stadium ever built. The dugouts were like bunkers, and everything was metallic or wood. And he just exuded from it. I can remember Ernie Banks with his good day for 2 routine passing out in the second game of a doubleheader in old Colt 45 Stadium. So it was quite a place to play.
The Astrodome opened in 1965 with the new name Astros set to play on natural grass under a see-through dome until they tried.
It was extremely difficult to even see the ball in the outfield because the glare was absolutely terrible. And they realized that this was going to be a tremendous problem, an unforeseen problem. The grass was beautiful when it was first laid in the dome, and everybody felt it was going to grow. These special things on top of the dome were going to let the light come in, and none of it panned out. It was great on paper, but it didn't work. They then had to paint the top of the dome to stop the glare from being so bad. 2 sections of it where the majority of the balls would come out from behind home plate, they had to paint real dark. When they did that, there was absolutely no chance for the grass. We were playing on a sprayed green mud and grass field for a while. They eventually went to the AstroTurf in the infield. They left the outfield as it was. It was so unique that everybody that came in had something to talk about. I would say that first night was as electrifying a night as anybody's ever spent. It was an experience because the Astrodome was the 8th wonder of the world. There's no doubt about it.
In 1969, Rusty was traded to Montreal, where again he was a fan favorite and an all-star, and where he acquired his most famous nickname from a local sports writer.
Ted Blackman. We had gone through a 20-game losing streak. We were in Los Angeles. I hit a home run in the game and made the last out of the game, jumping up against the screen and in right field. The next day in the paper, he just tabbed me because everybody called me the Big Orange for a long time, and he just translated it. It was Le Grand Orange, and it's stuck. It's been here a long time now.
Rusty first joined the Mets in '72, and he was a key to their amazing drive to the World Series the next year. He batted .423 in the 7-game loss to Oakland, and yet he almost didn't make the series because in the playoffs against the Reds, he suffered a major shoulder injury.
There just comes a time where you feel it's important to make a play regardless of what happens. As much as I have done some things that I have been proud of, I don't believe that really took place, that I was able to hit like I did the rest of the series. The 4-for-4 night with a home run, which was obviously aided by a tremendous gale force wind that was blowing out to left. I sat down after the game and I just said, thanks, big guy. I just didn't believe I could do that under these circumstances. And as Winston Churchill said about daring greatly, I have always attempted to do that. I think fans all over the world enjoyed that series, and I was particularly pleased to be a part of it.
Rusty went to Detroit in '76 and was named to an all-star team for the 6th time. He spent more than 4 years with the Tigers before a brief return to Montreal and then 1 season with Texas. Rusty came back to the Mets in '81 and became the premier pinch hitter in baseball, tying the records for consecutive pinch hits with 8 and most pinch hit RBIs in a season with 25.
I always strove to be remembered as somebody that got the most out of his ability. Someone who never would have to look back and say, gee, if I would have tried a little harder, if I would have done a few more things, I could have been a better player. It's the one thing I tell all the young guys now. I even tell it to some guys that are in the middle or even toward the end of their career. Don't finish your career without thinking in your own mind, you know, I didn't give it my full effort. And I think people remember that about me, that I always gave it everything I had.
Congratulations to Daniel Joseph Staub. The 1986 All-Star Game, as always, a special occasion. And This Week in Baseball was there for the 10th straight year.
Wait 10 years to do this.
This year's All-Star Game was played at the Houston Astrodome, also the site of the 1968 game. National League honorary captain Rusty Staub wore Houston Colt 45's uniform, while American League counterpart Charlie Gehringer reminded everybody that he played for Detroit. As second baseman for 19 seasons with the Tigers, Gehringer compiled a career batting average of .320, was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1949. He was at his best as an all-star, too. 10 hits and 20 at-bats over 6 games, including the beginning affair in 1933.
It was a great honor to be chosen to play in the first All-Star Game, and of course at that time I'd never played in a World Series, and of course it had to be the greatest excitement of my career to be picked, and the fact that I could play the whole 9 innings.
Boston's Roger Clemens played only the first 3, but became the 7th man in All-Star history to pitch 3 perfect innings. 21 of his 25 pitches were strikes, and at game's end, Clemens was named MVP. New York Met Dwight Gooden started for the National League, but didn't fare as well. In the top of the second with 2 out and a man on, Detroit's Lou Whitaker stepped in to face Dr. K. Going, that ball is gone. Whitaker's first All-Star homer and a 2-0 American League lead. In the 4th, the Dodgers' Fernando Valenzuela came on and promptly tied the All-Star record of New York Giant Hall of Famer Carl Hubbell, striking out 5 batters in a row. In the process, he became the first All-Star pitcher ever to strike out a side twice, having done it in the '84 game. Meanwhile, Milwaukee's Teddy Higuera was also in top form, striking out 2 and keeping the American League's perfect game alive into the 5th inning. But with 1 out, New York Met Darryl Strawberry singled to right to give the National League its first base runner. The score remained the same through 6 innings, but in the 7th, Kansas City's Frank White came up as a pinch hitter against hometown Astro Mike Scott. And White connected for a home run that would ultimately prove to be the margin of difference for the American League. With Texas Ranger Charlie Huff trying to protect a 3-0 lead, Red Sox catcher Rich Gedman was trying to protect himself because he'd never caught a knuckleballer. This passed ball allowed the National League to score the first of its 2 runs in the 8th when San Francisco's Chris Brown came home from third. Cincinnati's Dave Parker kept the National League threat going into the 9th, but with 1 out and men on first and third, Baltimore's Don Ossie came on to face Brown, who hit into a game-ending double play to give the American League its first win in a National League ballpark since 1962. Now, let's give out the answer to this week's Nissan quiz. Hall of Famer Lloyd Wainer set the big league rookie record for most hits in a season with Pittsburgh, 227 in 1927, batting .355. Minnesota's Tony Oliva set the American League mark with 217 hits in 1964, leading the league with a .323 average. Now, this week in baseball's 10th anniversary flashback, brought to you by Gatorade. Let's flash back to some All-Star memories. In the first All-Star game played in 1933, the star was fittingly Babe Ruth, who hit the Classic's first homer in a 4-2 American League win at Chicago's Comiskey Park. Next year, Carl Hubbell made All-Star history by striking out 5 straight future Hall of Famers: Ruth, Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin.
Ed had home runs off of pitchers that had better fastballs and better curveballs than I did. And the thing to do is you might show them those pitches, but don't get anything over the plate but the screwball. And that's exactly what we done.
Ted Williams took center stage in '46 when Rip Sewell tossed his famous Ephus pitch, and the Red Sox slugger belted his second homer of the game before the hometown fans at Fenway Park.
In the dugout, we had heard that he was going to use it because he'd had fair success with that during the season. In fact, he even said over and over he's going to use it. The comment was made on the bench, said, well, nobody can hit that thing out. And Bill Dickey said to me, he said, you can. I looked it over real good, and that was the key because he threw that ball, and I had a chance to judge it a little bit. Then when the next one comes, boy, I really had it. I was keyed in on that. And I swung from my butt, and boom, hit it. I just had to laugh about the whole thing because not that it meant so much, that home run, but the very fact it was the only one that was ever hit against him, too.
Red Schoendienst of St. Louis, the hero of the 1950 game, a home run in the 14th inning, snapping a National League losing streak of 4 straight.
I was working at second base, and it was in Chicago Park, 1950. Red Schoendienst said to me, he said, the old redhead's going to hit one in that upper deck, and we'll all go home. And by God, if he didn't hit it up there.
In '69, Johnny Bench of Cincinnati helped the National League win its 7th in a row with a towering shot at Washington's RFK Stadium. But his memory is tarnished by a different at-bat.
The sad thing of it, I hit another one later in the game that Carl Yastrzemski jumped up over the fence and grabbed and robbed me of a second home run, and that would have made me the most valuable player in the All-Star game, something I never accomplished. I'll never forgive you for that, yes.
Pittsburgh's Dave Parker did achieve an All-Star MVP award, and surprisingly, he did it mostly with his arm, helping give the National League 16 out of 17 victories.
Well, the 1979 All-Star game was played in Seattle, which I had played in dome stadiums before, but Seattle was a little different than the Houston Astrodome. I think they decorated the roof in red, white, and blue, real patriotic decorations, and there was a couple of fly balls that was hit that got in up in the white part of the decorations, and I can recall misjudging one on Jim Rice. I lost the ball in the ceiling and took a high bounce, and Jim was rounding the second base at that particular time, and I just turned and grabbed the ball, anticipating him probably being somewhere in the area between second and third, and turned and fired to third, and I got him there. The second throw in that '79 All-Star game was a ball that I think Greg Nettles hit to me with Brian Downing on second, which was a go-ahead run. It bounced to me on one bounce, and I knew it was a situation where I had to make this play or they would have beat us in the All-Star game. So I took a heave of the ball and I threw it all the way into home plate, and it ended up being a great play. Gary Carter made a good play on the ball.
Anybody that can get the MVP by using your arm when you're in an All-Star game, that shows you how great he was and the thing that he did to turn the game around, and shows you it's just not all offense, it's how you play the game, and he played it with his arm that day.
Montreal's Gary Carter played it with his bat in '81, earning the first of 2 All-Star MVP awards by blasting 2 home runs.
The first one was against Ken Forrest, and he threw a fastball kind of middle in, and I turned on it, and the ball went out of the ballpark, and it was just a thrill of a lifetime. Ron Davis came on, and I was told the same thing, that he just throws very, very hard and try and jump on the first pitch. Well, the first pitch was a fastball. There it was. I swung and hit it, and it hit the top of the center field wall in Cleveland, and Dave Winfield made a tremendous effort to catch it. And as I'm watching it, I tripped and fell over the first base bag, and an embarrassing moment, but yet I was able to pick myself up, dust myself off, and run around the bases, which was even another thrill.
California's Fred Lynn got a thrill in '83 when he hit the only Grand Slam in All-Star history as the American League won for the first time in 12 years. All-Star memories. And that's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.
Watch Cleveland Indians baseball tonight at 8, live from Royal Stadium, when the Tribe battles the Kansas City Royals on WUAB. Now stay tuned for the Herb Score Sports Show, next on Channel 43.